In a sudden and unexpected turn of events, a space mission involving 2 astronauts currently aboard the International Space Station, ISS, has encountered significant changes. What was originally intended to be a routine 8-day visit has now turned into an extended stay, with projections indicating that the astronauts may not return to Earth until sometime next year. The delay stems from increasing unease surrounding the safety of Boeing's CST-100 Starliner spacecraft, a concern that has triggered deeper discussions about the company's role in modern spaceflight. The 2 astronauts, Sunita Williams and Barry Butch Wilmore, were scheduled to conclude their mission and return to Earth aboard Boeing's Starliner capsule in February. However, that timeline has been indefinitely postponed. NASA has cited unresolved technical problems and safety risks associated with the Starliner as the primary reason for halting the return plan. This decision has reignited scrutiny of Boeing's capabilities and dependability in its efforts to develop a crew-rated spacecraft. Due to these ongoing safety concerns, NASA is now strongly considering retrieving the astronauts using SpaceX's Crew Dragon vehicle instead. If this shift becomes official, it will mark another critical point in the ever-widening performance gap between Boeing and SpaceX. The change reflects how SpaceX continues to outperform Boeing not only in terms of execution, but also in consistency and innovation. The contrast between the 2 companies has become emblematic of a broader trend in commercial spaceflight. Legacy aerospace companies struggling to keep up with newer, more agile rivals. The momentum in favor of SpaceX became more evident in August 2024 when Elon Musk, the company's outspoken CEO, made a statement on social media that resonated widely. He argued that traditional aerospace firms would not automatically dominate the new era of space exploration, just as automobile manufacturers did not revolutionize the aviation industry. While Musk didn't name Boeing directly, his comments were interpreted as a subtle critique of the veteran aerospace company, which has recently struggled to maintain its position in the competitive space sector. Musk's remarks came on the heels of a NASA decision to suspend further Starliner missions following a problematic docking attempt with the ISS in June 2024. What was supposed to be a straightforward and routine procedure ended up exposing major flaws in Boeing's spacecraft. The issues encountered during that test forced NASA to reevaluate the safety of continuing to use Starliner for crew transport. Musk further noted that if SpaceX's Crew Dragon weren't available, NASA might have had no choice but to rely on Russian Soyuz capsules again, an outcome that would have represented a significant setback for U.S. space autonomy. These developments are just the latest in a long list of challenges that have plagued Boeing's Starliner project since its inception. More than a decade ago, NASA began seeking alternatives to Russia's Soyuz system to regain independent access to the International Space Station. As part of that effort, the agency funded the development of 2 separate American spacecraft, Boeing's CST-100 Starliner and SpaceX's Crew Dragon, under the Commercial Crew Program. Back in 2014, NASA made a landmark decision to strengthen the United States' capability for human spaceflight by awarding contracts to both Boeing and SpaceX. Boeing, a seasoned player with a rich history in major NASA projects like the Space Shuttle and ISS, received $4.2 billion to design and build the CST-100 Starliner. SpaceX, though relatively younger and known for its rapid prototyping and cost-effective design philosophy, received a smaller but still substantial $2.6 billion to complete its Crew Dragon capsule. Despite receiving more funding, Boeing has struggled to deliver a viable, safe human-rated vehicle. The Starliner program has been dogged by a series of delays, malfunctions, and failed missions. One major setback occurred in 2019 during its first uncrewed orbital test flight. The capsule failed to reach the International Space Station due to a timing software glitch that threw the spacecraft off course. Further technical deficiencies, including corroded valves and faulty parachute deployment systems, have only deepened concerns about Boeing's ability to meet the rigorous standards required for crewed spaceflight. Meanwhile, SpaceX has made a series of impressive achievements with its Crew Dragon capsule. Since its successful debut carrying astronauts to the ISS in May 2020, Crew Dragon has completed 7 crewed missions, each executed with precision and minimal issues. These flights have carried not only NASA astronauts, but also private individuals, further proving the vehicle's adaptability and safety record. The repeated successes have bolstered NASA's trust in SpaceX and allowed the agency to diversify its flight operations without depending solely on foreign partners. Over time, NASA's confidence in SpaceX has only grown stronger, while Boeing's continuing delays have led to increased skepticism about its reliability. What began as a plan to foster competition between two American providers has gradually turned into a scenario where SpaceX is the primary, and sometimes sole, option for timely and secure space flights. The unequal performance has raised questions about Boeing's ability to fulfill its contractual obligations and has placed the company under intense scrutiny from both NASA and the broader space community. Boeing Starliner was envisioned as a cost-effective, reusable spacecraft capable of carrying up to 7 passengers. NASA's plan involved using it primarily for 4-person ISS rotations. Designed to remain docked at the space station for up to 7 months, the Starliner was intended to launch aboard United Launch Alliance's Atlas V rocket from Cape Canaveral. Yet the reality of Starliner's progress has fallen short of its promise. Initial projections aimed for crewed flights by 2017, but a series of engineering flaws and logistical challenges continually pushed back the timeline. A particularly alarming incident occurred during a 2019 test flight. Although the spacecraft launched successfully with cargo and a test dummy named Rosie on board, it failed to execute its trajectory properly due to the software error. After separating from the rocket, the capsule misfired its engines and missed its opportunity to rendezvous with the ISS. Quick-thinking engineers managed to salvage the mission by manually correcting the spacecraft's orbit. Nevertheless, the failure sparked major concerns. NASA and Boeing soon held a press conference in Florida to disclose the root cause. Then Administrator Jim Bridenstine explained that a flawed internal clock misjudged the capsule's flight phase, triggering incorrect engine burns and wasting critical propellant. Although a catastrophe was averted, the software miscue illustrated the unforgiving nature of spaceflight. The smallest technical oversight can escalate into mission-threatening problems, particularly when human lives are at stake. The event underscored the immense difficulty of ensuring system-wide reliability in spacecraft development. In the aftermath, NASA and Boeing embarked on a detailed evaluation of the Starliner's design and mission protocols. Their goal was to root out vulnerabilities and improve the platform before launching again. Even with immense technical talent and financial resources, Boeing has found it difficult to meet expectations, especially when compared to SpaceX's more iterative and agile approach. While Boeing's efforts stalled, SpaceX continued to break new ground. The Crew Dragon capsule completed multiple missions with both public and private crews and returned them safely. These consistent outcomes have earned SpaceX praise not only from NASA, but from the public, media, and other international space agencies. With each launch, SpaceX has become increasingly viewed as the industry standard in human orbital transport. The contrast in performance has prompted NASA to rely more heavily on SpaceX, even for missions initially earmarked for Boeing. This is a significant development considering Boeing's historical role in American spaceflight, dating back to the Apollo era and including major contributions to the Space Shuttle and ISS modules. For astronauts like Wilmore and Williams, the implications are deeply personal. Their extended stay on the ISS is a direct consequence of Boeing's difficulties. Though they remain safe and active aboard the station, their uncertain return date exemplifies how critical transportation reliability is in maintaining not just mission success, but also astronaut welfare. After the failed 2019 test flight, NASA required Boeing to perform a second uncrewed demonstration, which was delayed due to additional problems, such as corrosion in propulsion system valves. More than 1,000 components required replacement or repair. Eventually, Boeing launched Orbital Flight Test 2 in May 2022. That mission went more smoothly, but it wasn't without issues. Although the Starliner successfully docked with the ISS and returned to Earth, minor glitches during the flight led NASA's Aerospace Safety Advisory Panel to advise further investigation before proceeding with crewed launches. Boeing responded by making major software enhancements, addressing communications problems, and re-engineering its parachute systems, another trouble area identified in earlier evaluations. Despite these corrections, full confidence in Starliner has yet to be restored. Meanwhile, SpaceX advanced at full throttle, delivering reliable service and maintaining its growing dominance in commercial space transport. This widening gap has led many within NASA to question whether the dual-provider approach remains viable. While the concept of redundancy is strategically sound, the current disparity in execution makes one provider clearly more dependable. NASA is now facing the possibility of depending almost entirely on SpaceX, at least in the short term. The stakes are particularly high as the International Space Station continues to operate as a vital platform for scientific discovery. Experiments conducted there provide insights into health, materials science, and long-term space habitation, knowledge that will prove critical for missions to the Moon and Mars. Without reliable transportation, rotating crews becomes difficult, putting science and safety at risk. Boeing had envisioned Starliner as a domestic answer to Russia's Soyuz system and a key component in maintaining American leadership in space exploration. The spacecraft features a roomier interior than Crew Dragon and a different layout, but these design elements haven't been enough to offset its ongoing technical troubles. Throughout this saga, astronauts Wilmore and Williams have carried on with their responsibilities aboard the ISS. Yet, their indefinite stay has become a symbol of Boeing's declining prominence in human spaceflight. NASA's increasing reliance on SpaceX underscores the agency's shift in trust and strategy. In the broader context, Boeing's struggle reflects a shift in the space industry's center of gravity. Agile companies with strong engineering cultures and rapid development cycles are becoming the new norm. Traditional aerospace giants, once considered unshakable, are now being challenged to evolve or risk fading into obsolescence. NASA's current dilemma centers on the delicate balance between safety, redundancy, and technological progress. The agency's long-standing strategy of awarding contracts to multiple aerospace companies was initially designed to encourage innovation through healthy competition. By diversifying its partnerships, NASA hoped to stimulate new ideas, reduce risk, and avoid overdependence on any single contractor. However, this strategy has also revealed some unintended consequences. A significant performance gap has emerged between certain providers, raising concerns about reliability, accountability, and the efficient use of taxpayer dollars. Some companies have consistently met or exceeded expectations, while others, despite having historical prestige, have struggled to deliver on time or meet NASA's stringent requirements. This growing disparity now calls for a serious reassessment of how future contracts are awarded. Rather than relying heavily on legacy reputations or past achievements, NASA may need to shift its focus toward demonstrated performance, transparency, and the ability to consistently meet milestones. With the stakes higher than ever, especially as missions extend deeper into space and involve human lives, the need for dependable partners is paramount. In the years ahead, NASA's success may depend less on spreading opportunities equally and more on strategically investing in those who have proven they can meet the challenges of modern space exploration. Boeing, for its part, insists it remains committed to correcting Starliner's deficiencies and achieving a successful crewed mission. But with mounting delays, ballooning costs, and eroding confidence, the company's role in the future of space exploration is no longer guaranteed. If it hopes to reclaim its status as a leader in human spaceflight, it must act swiftly, transparently, and decisively. The Starliner program now stands at a crossroads. Its next mission could either restore trust and secure its place in NASA's operational framework, or serve as a cautionary tale of missed opportunities in the high-stakes realm of space travel. For the astronauts waiting aboard the ISS, and for the future of American space leadership, the outcome cannot come soon enough.